See, hundreds of years ago, William Davis said there's no time to stop and stare. And it hasn't gotten any better at all. In fact, we are more distracted than ever before. Our minds are busy and overloaded. People are disconnected with themselves. And we are hooked on to gadgets and social media and entertainment. How are we going to address this? In this age of AI, there's really no dearth to information at all. In fact, knowledge is available at a beck and call. This raises the question as to how do we get to know ourselves better?
எனக்கு ஃபீல் பண்ண முடிஞ்சது அழகாக இருக்குது. என் மனசுக்குள்ள இந்த கவலையில் இந்த டிராயிங்லேயே வரைஞ்சிட்ட மாதிரி தோணுது.
We ensure that there is an upsurge of creative energy, engages the cognitive and sensorial faculties, and coming up with these alternative ideas is a phenomenal way to boost versatile thinking.
நான் என்னையே லவ் பண்ணிடணும் அப்படின்னு கற்றுக்கிட்டேன்.
Hi, I'm Pavithra Yudhishter. I'm an artist, a hypnotherapist, and the creator of Studio Hunavey. Studio Hunavey to me is it's a portal that binds our conscious mind and our unconscious mind. It is a space that takes us away from distracted living to more of an intuitive living. To me, it's a space that brings out our hidden creative energy, our unspoken thoughts and unlived desires to the surface so that we are able to manifest and live at our highest potential possible. And as a community, we've been knowledge-driven and exam-centric for a long time now, and most pedagogies are still stuck on to factory-based education models, making children production machines. In this age of AI, there's really no dearth to information at all. In fact, knowledge is available at a beck and call. AI tools are able to provide us with information even beyond what human beings can fathom. So what's then really important is for us to understand ourselves deeply and gain the potential to understand the knowledge that we are getting from everywhere, so that then we become channels to create opportunities using these tools for ourselves and for everybody around. And this raises the question as to how do we get to know ourselves better? Well, to each their own, definitely. And I have been advocating art for quite some time now. Somehow in our education system, art has never been given the importance that it deserves. It's treated as a supplement or sometimes as an accessory perhaps, but it's never been the core. If you see institutions, you will see the first subject that gets borrowed to teach something else is usually an art class. So that is a bit of an issue for me. And hence we started Studio Hunavey. In the indigenous language, Badaga, Hunovet means the full moon. And like the full moon, we ensure that there is an upsurge of creative energy and we keep creativity at the core of everything that we do here so that people are able to reach the best version of themselves. We run multiple programs here under Studio Hunavey. We have our mini retreats called the Omakase Intuitive Art. We have intuitive art courses for children and adults. We also have creative mindset and parenting workshops for, of course, parents and educators. And the other one, which is very, very close to my heart, is our outreach programs. We take intuitive living and aesthetics and creative mindset to rural children and government educators so that they are able to understand the importance that creativity has and the difference that creativity can do to their career, to their well-being, and beyond. Yeah. So this video covers our very first outreach program that was conducted at Bahadur Bellie Gowder School in Hubbathalai. This school was built by one of our forefathers, and it catered to education to a lot of local people in the 1900s before it subsequently got donated to the government. And then split into boys' school and the girls' school. I have spent quality time with the girls there, so then we decided to do our first outreach program with the girls' high school. So I've been in the field of education for quite some time now. I've served as a principal of an international school, later went ahead and co-founded companies in the edtech space. And I have always believed that teachers should act as facilitators and adapt more of an inquiry-based learning and teaching, rather than simply transferring knowledge, because then they are only limiting the children to the knowledge that they are aware of and don't necessarily discover the children or learn the children. So I believe in deep conversations. I believe in forming that connect in order to bring richer learning experiences. So on the day of the session, I went with a completely open mind, and I was not prepared at all. People who really know me well would understand how rare that is. Children usually operate from a pure space of love, and they beautifully guided me towards their emotions with their hugs and warmth, and very, very loving gestures, which was beautiful to experience. They taught me their innate need for deep connection, which was special. And I was experiencing that after a long time, so it was overwhelmingly joyful. So after greeting them and all that, we then took the children around the periphery of the forest with a few teachers. We played fun games on the way. And much to my surprise, despite these children coming from a rural background, they were never exposed to nature actively. And spending time in nature is extremely crucial, particularly for children, because it engages their cognitive and sensorial faculties, like visual, sight, auditory, hearing, kinesthetic, movement, and touch, olfactory, which is smell, and gustatory, which is taste. Nature is an excellent way for learning life skills. So this is something that I would want for all children. And in the forest, children were asked to pick up natural materials that they could paint with instead of using brushes. Mark making, it is called in early education. And you know, it's not about just walking in the nature. It's about being fully present in it. And coming up with these alternative ideas is a phenomenal way to boost versatile thinking. And most children usually come from conditioned environment, and this is a fabulous way to break free from it. So they went ahead and picked up materials that they could establish a connect with, those materials that invited them, like twigs and leaves and stones and construction material that was strewn around. And it's about really figuring out what might work to paint and what might not. And such is life. You know, it's all about trial and error. And it was absolutely delightful to hear their funny and metaphorical conversations that had already started priming their mental canvas for the painting that they were going to do later. And from the neuroscience angle, imagination and introspection, it activates the default mode network, and these completely unrelated events and thoughts, when put together, forms the basis of creativity. And what an excellent way to do that. My favorite part about art is that it allows us to embrace our mistakes. There is nothing right or wrong when it comes to art, and that in itself is very liberating for children, because then they're not striving for perfection. Well, perfection is great, otherwise we end up with mediocrity, which we don't want again. But we do not want children to get overconsumed and overpowered by what other people perceive as beautiful. We want them to be able to give an opportunity to tap into their emotions that are raw and waiting to surface. Oh, and in the forest, something heartwarming happened. There were two children who suddenly ran towards something, and the rest of us followed them out of curiosity. And they spotted a hare that was lying lifeless. Emotions ran high. One child began weeping because she felt that all of us have families to take care of us and give us a send off, but this little hare was lying lifeless and it didn't have its family around. And that was so beautiful. So the rest of the girls comforted her and decided to give this poor hare a good send-off party. How cool, right? The girls then divided themselves into a few groups. Some of them went to dig a pit with their hands and with sticks, and the others went to pluck flowers to make a beautiful wreath for the hare. And the rest stayed with the hare, comforting it, saying kind words to it. Then one of the children, she took the hare and came and buried the hare into the pit and closed it, and they kept the wreath. They also sang a soulful song for the hare. It was such a deep moment. And what emerged there was nothing short of pure compassion and empathy. And furthering this conversation, we were even able to talk about how empathy is required even for entrepreneurship. You know, it's a very, very powerful spark, and such beautiful conversations. In fact, field trips are an excellent way to observe children, to understand their preferences, their choices, their fears, their beliefs also, which when they're kept cooped up in a classroom with particularly one-way communication channel, it gets stifled. And real learning takes place when the experience is sensorial. Our subconscious mind is able to tap into a lot of information when such sensory-rich experiences are given to children. That's when new neural pathways are formed, more memory retention happens. Can you imagine that just 1 foot has about 700,000 sensory receptors, and of course it gets filtered out through saliency, and what's more important gets stored back, but it is still a lot of information that we have access to. So all the more reason intuitive art, you have to understand, is not just about drawing something. It's about feeling deeply, understanding it physically and emotionally. And now that the children were stimulated enough, we were all set to come back and express ourselves. And when the art materials got distributed, boy, their joy knew no bounds. All of us, we ripped the plastic wrapper off the canvas, and that was such a burst of excitement. And excitement usually fuels the thought flow. Actually, facing a blank canvas can be quite intimidating for a lot of people. That is why we added theater-based activities and bubbles and music and physical activities to keep the flow effortlessly going. Also, working this way helps people look at the lighter side of things. There's a lot of humor, and to be able to laugh at our own creation is an ability that helps people in the long run, and art enables us to do just that. To me, painting is never really done with just the hands, it involves the entire body, mind, and the soul. So movements using our non-dominant hands or toes or elbows, or even activating the left and the right brain, all of this enhances the process of intuitive art making, because discomfort breeds creativity, and that's when the magic really happens. When the children accomplish something, when what they thought was difficult to achieve, that's when the aha moment happens. Most people believe that therapy is only for those people with cognitive difficulties, but that is a completely misguided notion. In fact, everybody requires therapy, and creativity and art is an excellent tool for it. Children in particular, they develop deep-seated beliefs about themselves and the world around them based on their experiences and what has been told to them, and that eventually becomes their internal dialogue as well, because they mirror the adults, and they take in their opinions as their own. So that is why if they grow up in a great environment, they flourish, and otherwise they end up having inhibitions and have other kind of limiting beliefs. So in our intuitive painting, we also include shadow work, and we add techniques from neuro-linguistic programming, deep trance work from hypnotherapy, and so on, so that it helps them to go beyond themselves and form a positive image about themselves. And these results are seen almost instantly, and it's beautiful. Apart from individual transformation, art also aids in collective growth. After all, we human beings are social beings. So we could see that children, when they sat as groups, they painted in a similar fashion. So that goes on to say that we are known by the company we keep, right? And also, because we did not give brushes to them to paint, they were trying to figure out alternative ways to paint, including the wrapper that they took off the canvas. They even used that to paint. To me, creativity is a muscle that requires training every single day. Then it evolves and it positively impacts other areas of one's life as well. If you see, most people get discouraged because they try to follow the techniques of art. You can hear people saying, I'm not good at art, and I'm not good at painting. Well, that's because they're focusing on the techniques. For example, where is the light falling from, the distance or the depth or proportion in the art. Also, if you see, there are certain places where they would teach one particular painting to 10 to 20 people, and all of them have the same thing. Well, that's the technique of art, and that's a different process. Here we are learning how to be creative. Here the focus is on the colors and the textures and the wisdom in the formed and the unformed abstract, which is emerging from within us. The feel of it is very different. It unloads our minds, and no two paintings are the same. If you ask me, everybody should indulge themselves in some form of art or creativity, because it brings immense benefits. All that is required is a sense of curiosity and to think like an artist. That's all. There's no painting that cannot be reworked on or repainted, and that's what art teaches us. It teaches us that we can always start over. If you see, there are a lot of children and adults who go into depression or commit suicide. In fact, 1 in every 40 seconds there is somebody committing suicide, and they do so because they think that there is no way out. They feel stuck in life. And to me, painting, using your full body, is really helpful, because it changes your neurology, your physiology affects your neurology, and it helps you embrace resilience. So all the more reason why intuitive painting should become accessible for all people. Educational institutions and corporate organizations who have taken up programs for a longer duration are able to see successful transformation within the employees. And for those of them who've taken up workshops, for them this forms as a stimulation.
என் பேர் ரவுத்தல் பஸ்ரியா, நான் 9th ஸ்டாண்டர்ட் படிக்கிறேன். இன்றைக்கி நாங்கள் ஃபாரஸ்ட் போனோம், பெயிண்டிங்லாம் பண்ணோம். நான் ஃபர்ஸ்ட் டைம் ஃபாரஸ்ட்குள்ளே போகிறது. அங்கே போயிட்டு எங்கள் ஸ்கூலில் எல்லாத்துக்குமே ஹியூமனிட்டின்னு இருக்குன்றதை நான் இன்றைக்கி தெரிஞ்சுக்கிட்டேன். அங்கே ஒரு முயல் இறந்துருந்துச்சு, அது எல்லோரும் சேர்ந்து அடக்கம் பண்ணோம். கொஞ்சம் கவலையாகவும் இருந்துச்சு. அப்புறம் நாங்கள் எல்லா இடத்துலையும் சுற்றி பார்த்துட்டு இங்கே வந்துட்டு நிறையா கற்றுக்கிட்டோம். இன்றைக்கி தான் நான் என்னையே லவ் பண்ணிடணும் அப்படின்னு கற்றுக்கிட்டேன். பெயிண்டிங்லாம் பண்ணோம், எல்லாரோட பெயிண்டிங்கும் நல்லா இருந்துச்சு. எல்லாரோட டேலண்ட்டும் இன்றைக்கி வெளியே வந்திருக்கு.
என்னோடய பேர் வந்து தர்ஷினி, நான் வந்து 6th ஸ்டாண்டர்ட் படிக்கிறேன். இன்றைக்கி வந்து பெயிண்டிங் பண்ணோம், நல்லா வந்துச்சு. சீட்ஸு அதெல்லாம் எடுத்துகிட்டு வந்து வச்சு பண்ணோம். எனக்கு ட்ராயிங்கே வராதுன்னு நினச்சேன், ஈஸியாக வந்துருச்சு.
ஹாய், என் பேர் வந்துட்டு சரண்யா. நான் 7th ஸ்டாண்டர்ட் படிக்கிறேன். இன்றைக்கி எனக்கு ரொம்ப ஜாலியாக இருந்துச்சு. ஏன்னா வந்துட்டு ஒரு மேம் வந்துட்டு ஃபாரஸ்ட் கூட்டிகிட்டு போனாங்க. அங்கே நிறையா நாங்கள் கண்டுபிடிச்சோம், புதுசாக இருக்கிறதுலாம் நாங்கள் பார்த்தோம். எனக்கு ஃபர்ஸ்ட் டைம் ஃபாரஸ்ட்டுக்கு போகிறது ரொம்பவுமே ஜாலியாக இருந்துச்சு. அப்புறம் வந்துட்டு நாங்கள் ட்ராயிங் எல்லாருமே ரொம்ப அழகாக பண்ணோம். அப்போ இடையில மேம் எங்களை ஜாலியாக நிறையா சொல்லிட்டு இருந்தாங்க. எனக்கு இந்த நாள் மறக்கவே முடியாதனால ரொம்ப ஜாலியாக இருந்துச்சு.
ஹாய், என் பேர் ரின்சி. நான் 8th ஸ்டாண்டர்ட் படிக்கிறேன். இன்றைக்கி நாங்கள் ஃபாரஸ்ட்டில் போய் நிறைய விஷயங்கள் கற்றுக்கிட்டோம். அங்கே நாங்கள் இந்த ஸ்கூலுக்குள்ளேயே தான் கேம்பஸ் க்ளீன் பண்ணிட்டு அதில் கிடைக்கிற சந்தோஷத்தை விட இன்றைக்கி நாங்கள் ஃபாரஸ்ட்டில் போயிட்டு அங்கே விதைகள், அந்த லீவ்ஸ் அதெல்லாம் எடுத்து அதில் எப்படி பிரிண்ட் ஆகும் அந்த மாதிரி பெயிண்டிங்ஸில் பார்த்தோம். அப்புறம் இன்றைக்கி ஸ்கூல் லைஃப் விட இன்றைக்கி நாங்கள் ரொம்ப ஜாலியாக ஃபீல் பண்ணோம். அப்புறம் கேமராமேன் சார் தான் எங்கள் பின்னாடியே வந்துட்டு இருந்தார். அப்புறம் அவர் கூட ஜாலி பண்ணோம். அப்புறம் நாங்கள் நிறைய திங்ஸ் எடுத்துகிட்டு வந்து இங்கே பெயிண்ட் பண்ணவே முடியாதுன்னு நினச்சோம். மேம் அவங்களோட எக்ஸ்பீரியன்ஸில் சொன்னாங்க. அப்புறம் எங்களுக்கு பெயிண்டிங் வந்துச்சு.
ஹாய், திஸ் இஸ் சசிகலா. நான் என்னோடய ஸ்கூலில் நான் ஒர்க் பண்ணிகிட்ருக்கேன். இன்றைக்கி மார்னிங் வந்து பவித்ரா மேம் வந்திருந்தாங்க. வந்திருக்கும் போது குழந்தைங்க கூட பயங்கர இன்ட்ராக்டிவாக இருந்தாங்க. குழந்தைங்களும் ரொம்ப இன்ட்ரெஸ்டாக இருந்தாங்க. ஸோ அப்படியே நாங்கள் கொஞ்சம் வெளியிலலாம் போயிட்டு வந்து நிறைய விஷயங்கள் இன்றைக்கி குழந்தைங்க கூடயே நானும் ரொம்ப நேரம் டைம் ஸ்பெண்ட் பண்ண மாதிரி இருந்துச்சு. இப்போ அவங்கள பற்றி கொஞ்சம் தெரிஞ்சுக்க முடிஞ்சிச்சு. வெறும் புக்கு அதில் இருக்க நாலேஜ் மட்டுமே இல்லை, அதை தாண்டி நிறைய விஷயம் இருக்குதுன்னு குழந்தைங்களும் இன்னைக்கு கொஞ்சம் கற்றுருப்பாங்க போல். அவங்களுக்கு புது எக்ஸ்பீரியன்ஸாகவும் இன்ட்ரெஸ்டாகவும் இருந்துச்சு. டைம் இருக்கும்போதெல்லாம் வாங்க மேம், குழந்தைங்க நல்லா ஜாலி பண்ணுறாங்க. ஸோ அவங்க மைண்ட் கொஞ்சம் ஃப்ரீயாக இருக்குது. ஸோ கண்டிப்பாக வாங்க. தேங்க்யூ ஸோ மச் ஸ்கூலுக்கு வந்ததுக்கு.
Good afternoon. We are from Govt Girls High School, Hubbathalai, and our children had a great time today with Pavi ma'am, and I must thank her personally for taking so much of time and having the thought of helping the children and coming here and doing something. Thank you so much, ma'am. What I asked the children and I learned from them is they learned from their mistakes. So they were allowed to be their own self today. So some of them are coming from a remote place, so they haven't been to forest, but they've gone in and they've experienced so many things in that, and they picked up whatever they found it interesting or whatever they liked, and they did a lot of art with that. And ma'am had taught them to draw with using your leg with your left hand like that. So I understand it's activating the right brain and the left brain. Thank you so much. And taking them out, giving them an experience and giving them way to express their own feeling and letting their creativity out through their art. It was very, very nice, and thank you so much. Thank you once again, and we welcome you, and we look forward for most of many times like this, so that we will also enjoy, we will also contribute. Thank you so much.
Also, my book, The 6 Codes of Conscious Creativity, is coming out soon. This is a book that offers practical ways to make creativity a way of life, and you don't want to miss it. And a special shout out to Dharman for capturing the essence of the Nilgiris and our story. So thank you, Babu Dharman. Do subscribe to his channel, The Voice of Nilgiris, to see more amazing videos. Thank you.